All right, ladies, how did your year go? Today I'm going to be sharing how our year went, how the curriculum went, and basically everything in between all of that. This is a collaboration hosted by myself and Devine over at Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. I'm going to go ahead and link the playlist down below in the description bar, so make sure you check it out when you are done with this video. Go see how all of the other mamas' years went and, you know, what worked for them, what didn't, and all of that fun stuff. All right, so I think I'm going to start with my second grader. So for her, hopefully I can remember everything that we used because I did not sit down and make a list of it all. So for math, we did Apologia and Master Books. And I loved those two curriculums so very much. I know that sometimes, you know, some moms may think that, you know, two curriculums is a tad much, but my daughter really seems to do well with the extra reinforcement of having a second one, and this was our first year trying two curriculums at the same time, and I feel like it worked really well. Apologia and Master Books both come from a Christian worldview, and I absolutely love that. But they also pair really nicely with each other. So like when she's doing, you know, learning one concept in Apologia, she's usually learning the same concept around the same time, if not a week or two either later or before in Master Books. And so I felt like that really helped solidify everything that she was learning in each one. And so we are going to do that again for this coming year because it worked so well for us this year. I don't know if it will always work well for us every year, but that's kind of what my plan is at the current moment to do with her every single year, at least up until about 6th grade, or until I don't see her needing that extra reinforcement. And then at that point, I'll just pick whichever one I think is suiting her better at the time. But for right now, both of those are working beautifully for her, so I'm not gonna change anything. I'm just gonna go with the flow. Neither of them take her very long. I think she spends about 10 to 15 minutes per book, so the lessons are quick, short, to the point, and that is absolutely what I love in any and all curriculums. I will say though that for Apologia, they start each lesson off with kind of like a math facts review. Because she's using Master Books, we tend to skip that, so I don't do everything that Apologia has assigned. I think if I did, she would really enjoy it, but sometimes when it comes to juggling my preschooler and my baby, I just don't have time to put together, you know, the activities. It doesn't take very long to put them together. It's basically open and go. They already have it ready for you in the teacher's guide. I just, you know, sometimes those extra few moments that you need to set something like that up, I don't have. So we don't do them, but she's done beautifully with the curriculum, and I'm really excited to use their book 3 as well as Master Books Math 3. And I will have a review coming out for you guys on Apologia's Math 3 this summer. I already have one on Master Books Level 3. I'll try to link it up here if you guys want to check it out if you're considering Master Books. It's, like I said, it's working beautifully, so I'm not going to mess with it. Now, moving on to language arts, she used All About Reading Level 2, and then we also did Spelling Connections and Evan Moore's Grammar and Punctuation and IEW's Bible Heroes. She did beautifully in All About Reading. I am so proud of her. She picks it up fairly easily, but she's done amazing. And so we're going to be continuing level 3 and 4 this coming year. She tends to blow through them pretty quickly, so I already have level 3 prepped, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to use part of this summer break just to go ahead and prep level 4. Whether she finishes it or not this coming year once she finishes level 3, I'm not completely sure of. But whatever she doesn't finish this year, we'll just finish out in the following school year, so I'm not really concerned about it. But if you guys are looking for a really great reading curriculum, I would highly suggest checking out All About Reading. that is the curriculum that I have seen her have the most growth in. And it has been so nice to see that little light bulb just clicking in her head as we're going out throughout the curriculum, and she's learning new concepts and new reading skills. And I have absolutely loved that. Prior to using All About Reading, we did Master Books, Phonics Foundations, and I really liked that one. It really helped her understand the concepts of blending, but there was no continuation after that book. And then after that, we did The Good and the Beautiful's kindergarten curriculum, and she enjoyed it, but it was just so inconsistent in the times. So like some days she'd be reading for 5 minutes and another day she'd be reading for 30 minutes, and it was kind of all over the place, and it did not suit her well. So I think that the fact that she has that consistency in All About Reading of, okay, every single day is 20 minutes, that has been such a game changer for her, and it has been so nice to just watch her blossom in those skills. As far as IEW's Bible Heroes, we did not finish the curriculum. I kind of took that one a little slower with her just because she was doing All About Reading and then grammar and punctuation, spelling connections. So I think we got about halfway through that book. It wasn't like a huge focus for me, but I really want to work on her writing skills in the coming year. I'm already thinking about some curriculum changes for her for next year. Maybe not complete changes, but like additional things that I can add in. So once I finalize that, I'll do a video of a recap of what we're going to be using for 3rd grade, and then another one of what we're going to be using for 7th grade. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. I really do love IEW, so it's not a problem with the curriculum, and she actually took to it pretty well. She started on really getting the hang of how to form an outline and then how to write a story based on the outline. So I don't know, I might even finish out that book with her next year. I don't know, I'm still playing around with that. But I really liked it for her. It wasn't like our main focus just because she had so many other language arts items that we were using. I kind of just gave her a feast, if you will, and we just kind of picked and chose what we wanted to work on. As far as spelling connections, I really liked that one. I felt like it was the perfect amount of work that she needed, but I think she would have done better if there were actually like more spelling quizzes mixed in, like a weekly spelling quiz. I think it would have just provided her that extra reinforcement, and then maybe I'm thinking for her that I'm going to need to find some spelling games and things like that. She's that kid that just needs the extra reinforcement. She tends to pick it up, but she doesn't always retain it. You know, it's like a in one ear and out the other kind of deal sometimes. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just design my own spelling quiz for her every week based on either her sight words from All About Reading, or I'll find some online lists of words that, you know, 3rd graders should know. Maybe start the year off with some of the flashcards that she would have had from All About Reading Level 2 just to kind of ease her into it. But I think she just needs that little bit of extra reinforcement. I think that would be a true help for her. As far as Evan Moore, Grammar and Punctuation, I think that was her favorite book that she had this year. She really liked it. She understood the concepts. They were very straightforward, to the point, and they didn't have, you know, it wasn't full of fluff. And so I really appreciated that. I actually meant to pick her up an Evan Moore book and completely forgot. So that might be one of the things that I add in for the next homeschool year. I am trying to think. I think that's it for everything that she used by herself. As far as our group subjects, we did some Science Unlocked books. We also did some human anatomy books that I got from Timberdoodle. I'll link the review for that up here if you guys are looking for some human anatomy. Those ones were really great. I wish I would have gotten 2 though, because I was using them with my 2nd grader and my 6th grader. And so I was making photocopies, and I didn't enjoy that photocopying part. It took too long, and I just want something that's ready. I don't want something that I have to constantly do. But I was trying to save money. But next year, I would just, if I had to do that again, I would just buy 2 books, because it was just annoying to just constantly be making photocopies, and then, you know, the toddler's running around and I'm holding the baby, and then I'm like fussing with the pages and the printer, and yeah. So I think that that's my only downside to some of the science things that we used, is I would just, next time I will make sure that everybody has their own book, or I will do all of the photocopies over the summer so that I'm not struggling on the day of as I'm trying to start the lesson. So just, you know, take note, mamas, if you have multiple kids as well as a toddler and a baby, and you don't want to be fumbling and you're always just, you know, running to catch up, here's your warning that you might just want to purchase that 2nd book, despite you wanting to be a good steward and be frugal. Now, as far as Science Unlocked, I really liked the boxes. I really like the concept of the boxes. So if you guys are not familiar with them, you get all of these boxes. And so it's basically kind of like a science unit study in a box, but you can buy the entire pack for the year. So, you know, when you're done with this box, you can work on the next box, and so on and so forth. It's really nice because all of the experiments literally come already like portioned for you in that box that goes with, you know, whatever you're going to be covering. So for this one, we did Squishy Science, and they did Oobleck, I think is what it was called. They had a lot of fun in this. And I will say this is the year that I have done the most science, but I didn't do as much as I wanted to. And so I feel like a little bit of a failure in the science department, which is so funny because that's like one of my favorite subjects, go figure. But the kids really enjoyed this box. We did have a unit study that we started with at the beginning of the year, and it was on forensic science. And the kids had a blast with that one. Next year, we already have our science curriculum picked out. They're going to be doing zoology, but for the following year, I would really, really, really like to find a forensic science curriculum to use with the younger grades. A lot of the ones that I've looked into, they're more designed for high school students, but I would really like to either find one that's already made, preferably, or use this coming year to create one myself for their grades, because they had so much fun. They're really into like the spy theme stuff. So even some of our board games, like some of their favorite ones are things like Spy Alley and Clue and all of those. So I would really love to find a curriculum that is forensic science themed, but maybe for 4th and 9th graders that I could... 4th and 9th. No, he's going to be in 8th the following year. So 4th and 8th grade. So if anybody knows of one, let me know. Drop it down below, because I am on the hunt, because they just had so much fun. I had so much fun. It was such a fun curriculum to not only use but to teach. And I won't say that it has like all the bells and whistles, but it had just enough to teach the concept well, but it was minimal enough that you could add things in that you know, think is a good idea, or that would be fun, or that would really solidify some of the things that are taught. And so we really enjoyed that one, and I will try to link those down below. That one was really, really fun. I don't even know where it is at this point. My homeschool room is a mess, and I am just trying to get to the point where I can go and sort through everything and see what I need to get rid of. Okay, now as far as our second group subject, it was Mystery of History, Level 1, and I really love that. It did a deep dive into history. It taught it in a fun way. I love that they had so many different activity ideas and map exercises and pre-tests and post-tests. I will say though that towards, you know, middle to like 3/4 of the way through the year, You know, like when you start hitting that burnout and you're like, I just want to be done, or I just want to get closer to being done. I stopped doing the activities. It just started being a lot to plan. And I wish I hadn't done that, because then I started treating the curriculum like it was just a box to check instead of an experience to have. And that was really bad on my part. So I really want to work this summer to just have things like those already planned out and ready. So then that way when the time comes, you know, we can do the art project and I don't have to worry about, oh, did I pick that up from the store? You know, do I have to hunt that down somewhere in the messy homeschool room? Or, you know, do I have to worry about cutting this thing to have it ready with, you know, a crying baby at my feet? So yeah. That is where I failed. I didn't do the activities. So I would like to use this summer to try to put whatever activities for whatever curriculum that we have together. So then maybe I can just go and pull it from, you know, like a freezer bag or something like that that's marked for the week that we're on. I think that that would suit me really well, because I feel like that is my major downfall, is it gets to the point in the year where we are busy, I am tired, I have to some degree chaos floating around. You know, I feel like the moment you have to sit there and like photocopy something or put something together, that's when your phone is ringing and the toddler got hurt and is crying and the baby, you know, is fussy at your feet and somebody has a million questions. So I want to really work to be diligent this summer. All right, so moving on to our final group subject, which is Bible. We used Bible Road Trip and I really loved it. It was a really deep dive into the Bible. But again, I got tired and a little overwhelmed. And at some point, we started just reading the Bible as our Bible curriculum, which is not a bad thing. If anything, I think that your Bible curriculum should 100% be inside the Bible and not inside of a book talking about the Bible. But we did fall off of it. It started to feel like it was just a little too much. And I had made some changes this year for what we're going to use next year, and I still want to sit down and review it, and I'm going to post a review for you guys in case you're looking for a Bible curriculum. But I also kind of feel like I shouldn't give up on Bible Road Trip just yet. I feel like I should make certain adjustments that kind of work with our busy schedule. And like I said, prepare over the summer so things are already done and ready and prepped, and then give it another go next year. I think it's a phenomenal curriculum. I really, really love that they emphasize memorizing scripture each and every single week. This is something that I have not been a good steward on over the last couple of years. And I know that that does not make me a failure by any means, but it is something that I want tucked so deeply into my children's hearts so that when they are adults and they have a hard season in life or a heartbreak or a devastation of some kind, or even a victory, they have that scripture in their heart and it will make its way to their mind at the most perfect and opportune time and the moments that they're going to need it the most. And so I really, really, really want to focus on that this year, despite, you know, any busyness or overwhelm or chaos or anything else that life is going to throw at us, because it has been a doozy of a couple of years. If you guys have been around here for any length of time, you know, I feel like I'm always ending the year with, man, this was rough. And it doesn't seem to get any better. Maybe that's just how it is with, you know, being a mom of a large family. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm thinking we're going to switch back and stick with Bible Road Trip. But I want to do more praying on it, because the best curriculum to have is the one that you're actually going to use, not the one that you're going to feel so overwhelmed by and run away. Also, I mean, worst case, I can keep it and we can do it as the kids get a little older and I'm not in, you know, the hard years of having very little ones. All right, so now moving on to my 7th grader. For math, he used Apologia Math 6. I loved that curriculum so very much. I believe it was brand new this year, so if you are in the boat of what math should I get for my 6th grader, I would 100% recommend Apology and Math 6. We absolutely loved it. The only con is that there's not a Math 7. I wish so wholeheartedly that they would continue their math into the higher grades, just because we loved it, and it stunk to go and try to find like, oh great, now what do we use? You know, it felt like we finally found a really great math curriculum, and then he kind of phased out of it in a way. So next year we're going back to master books. I'm really excited about that, but their Math 7 looks a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it looks like it might be a tad different. It's the Principles in Mathematics Book 1, but so many people said that they had a good experience with it. And I really like that they offer online math classes for it on their Masterbooks Academy. So I purchased those classes for him to combine that with the book, just so if I am trying to help my 3rd grader or my soon-to-be preschooler, or I'm juggling the baby, that he has an avenue that is not just me to get help and have his questions answered. Hopefully, though. I mean, they're not live classes. It's all recorded, so we'll see how that goes. For language arts, he used IEW Fables, Myths, and Fairy Tales. He did Fix-It Grammar Book 2, and he continued making his way through Phonetic Zoo from IEW. And we love those. This was our 2nd year using all 3 of those curriculums, and I truly don't see us changing, knock on wood, from IEW. I absolutely love Andrew Pudawa. I love all of the products that IEW creates. He continued to excel in writing, and you guys, this is coming from a child who was a very reluctant writer, who would get so frustrated when he was given just a simple writing prompt. And now he is basically taking a prompt and running with it and writing a whole story just about that one prompt. So he is doing phenomenal in that curriculum. I am so very grateful that we came across IEW. I'm so very grateful that it has moved in his heart and mind in the very way that I wanted it to when we initially made the change. So I've been very pleased with those curriculums. Now, the last thing that he also used from IEW was their cursive, and even that was really great. He learned everything he needed to learn. He did really great in it, and I can't wait to continue using IEW and just seeing how he blossoms as a writer. Now, one last group subject that I completely forgot that we did was puberty. So if you guys are looking for some great, puberty resources or how to talk about the birds and the bees, I have a whole video with flip-throughs of books. I will link up here in case you are interested in seeing those. But we did the Good and the Beautiful Maturation study. We went through Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, both the junior and the regular versions. And then we did the talk books. So these ones right here. And honestly, I know that might seem like a little bit of overkill using all of those resources, but we did it spaced out over the year, and it brought up a lot of really great topics and just conversation starters. And I feel like these were really great ages to just start introducing my kids to these topics and, letting them know what to prepare for with their bodies, but also their future relationships and how they need to guard their hearts and minds. And so I really loved all of the resources that I mentioned in that video and in this one. I don't think that there's any one that was necessarily like my top favorite. I think that they all worked really well together to go over the same topic but in different ways. And while my 6th grader may not have always enjoyed the conversations, my 2nd grader surely learned a lot and is going to annoy her brother with all of the fun facts that they went over. think that is it for everything for our year that I have to mention. Let me know how your guys' homeschool years went, some of the things that worked and didn't work, and what changes you're making in the following year. I know that reading other people's experiences always helps me make decisions and, you know, just kind of navigate some of the things that I should change or consider or even possibly add in. So don't, you know, take any of your comments too lightly, because you never know who they could benefit. Don't forget to check out the playlist. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, and I will see you again later. Bye.